Hello and welcome to Local Edition. I'm Leslie Leyton. Anyone who doesn't have a big credit history knows how hard it is to get a loan or how much you're going to pay for it if you can get one in the first place. With us now is Senator Lou Correa, and he's here to talk about legislation he has that would focus on helping people with bad credit, no credit, get low-cost, no-cost loans.
Exactly, Leslie. And let's pull back and look at the big picture. The big picture is that we in this country, in this state, are recovering from the worst recession since the 1930s. And a lot of people have had their credit devastated. So how do you get back on your feet? Well, you got to establish credit. How do you establish credit? You got to get a loan. But you can't get a loan unless you have credit. And that's why you see people at the very end, lower levels of our society right now, meaning those with no credit, trying to get back on their feet, difficulty in getting loans. So
what they're doing a lot of times is they're going to those payday loan places, and those loans are very, very expensive.
Payday loans are not actually loans, they're advancements on your check. But they're, quite expensive on the interest rate. But those are the kinds of issues you find. So what I have focused on is chair of the Senate Banking and Finance Committee is trying to come up with some products for folks that are making or getting loans up to $3,000 at an interest rate that's reasonable, and number two, one that'll give them the opportunity to establish their credit.
Okay, so how are you going about doing this? You're trying to get nonprofits involved in lending the money, right?
Well, the way I'm doing it is I'm not saying you can't, payday lenders, other people, you can't make those loans, but rather
you're not restricting any of the lending laws for the existing subprime
products.
Financing.
We're not saying you can't make these loans. What we're doing is creating different channels of getting the loans.
Okay.
We want to tell the nonprofits, you can make these loans and you don't have to have a banking license. You don't have to have a lending license. So a lot of the nonprofits who are nonprofits, they don't make any profit, can make these loans at zero interest rate, and they don't have to be regulated by the state.
And then when the people who borrow the money pay it back, then they can have a credit record that shows that they repaid the loan. And that's why the law needs to exist, because you can't report to a credit agency if you don't have these.
The law says you can continue to do what you're doing. An installment loan, you can report it to the credit rating agency, and you don't have to fill out the paperwork with the state of California.
Okay, so how would this work? I would donate money to a nonprofit, and then they would loan it out to someone who's trying to establish their credit.
You would take 10 of your neighbors. Each one of you would give $100 to the nonprofit. The nonprofit would give you the loan of $1,000 for that month, and then you would start paying it back on a monthly basis. So what the nonprofit does is they record the fact that Leslie paid on time, Leslie has had a credit history, and that's the way you build a history. It's so simple. It's like, why didn't we think about this years ago? Okay,
so the person who donates the money also gets a tax write-off, right, for donating the money to the nonprofit?
If they donate money to the nonprofit, but you would not, as a participant in this nonprofit, to get borrower lender.
Okay, so it's not just any nonprofit that you donate money to who would loan money out. It's these specific lending circles that you're working to develop.
That is the way you look at them.
Now, where does this stand? I know that you've been talking about it. You have legislation.
We're moving it through the legislative process, and it looks really good. It's a win-win. Everybody's come on board, the right, the left, bankers, non-bankers, nonprofits. So again, this is our little way of saying, come up with something that's actually been happening for hundreds of years. Let's legitimize it and move ahead.
What happens if the people don't pay the money back?
And you have a bad credit report.
What about the people who gave the money to the lending circle?
They took by a little bit of a loss.
Okay. And did they get any profit?
No.
Ever? Okay.
But
Very
let
interesting
me tell
topic.
You, nobody ever defaults on these loans.
Oh, false. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Senator Lou Correa for being here. I'm Leslie Leyton.